Yo, what's good everyone? This is Nathan Cross checking back in, and the topic of today's video is going to be increasing stride length. Now, something that I always discuss ad nauseum when it comes to sprinting or running in general are the two main components that I believe: stride length and stride frequency. Stride frequency, the rate at which your feet are moving from one step to the next to the next, so essentially the cycling speed. Stride length would be more along the lines of, the amount of distance between one step to the next and to the next. So ultimately, the main concern that someone had addressed was the fact that for their particular height, or just in general, their stride length was significantly shorter than it would be. Now, initially they had an idea suggested that I should, post a video of, running on a treadmill. And the only thing is that treadmill running, it's obviously not the same as running on a track or, on terrain, but I'm about to explain that reason why. You see, the mechanics of your running stride are by default going to be different when you're running on a treadmill compared to when you're actually running and, dealing with some actual displacement. And for example, just running outdoors on a track like I'm displaying here, your quads are really being activated, really pushing you and propelling you forward. And when running outdoors, it's your hamstrings that require an immense amount of activation to completely get a full cycle, and that specifically includes bringing that leg up behind you. The term I always use is bringing the heels to the hamstrings. And the issue is that the propulsion belt, that constantly moving belt of a treadmill, actually does that for you. Now, unless you're dealing with an actual true form runner, you're going to see that a lot in CrossFit, or just professional runners who've been using those a lot more recently in the past few years. That's when you're using your energy in its entirety. If you're using a treadmill, you sort of are affecting your pace. You're running at a set speed, and the treadmill's driving you at that pace. You don't really have much control. So unfortunately, when using a regular treadmill, your hamstrings won't be firing as much. You won't be conditioning yourself, conditioning your form, conditioning your body to bring in that heel to the hamstring position after each cycle on each turnover. And that's actually one of the things that people are missing out on when it comes to improving their stride length. That tight turnover is the key portion to increasing your stride length. Your stride frequency will come with a lot more conditioning, practicing these things over and over again, doing different kinds of warm-ups, trackman warm-up as I have displayed already. But the stride length, that tight turnover, is what's going to get you the stride length. Some of the points of performance worth addressing: making sure your arms are using the appropriate range of motion from chin area to the back pocket. Making sure your chest is up and your chin is down. You've got some nice breathing going. Making sure your midfoot or forefoot striking, heel to toe striking, is something that you may want to correct over time if that's something that you do partake in. But midfoot and forefoot striking will definitely help with your overall running form. High knees, elongated strides, and as I talked about before, the tight turnover. You see, the reality is you can bring your legs as high as you want, your knees specifically. You can get your knees as high up as you want. The same people I see making sure they're running with high knees are the same ones that have your legs dragging behind them. I saw a video with, I think it was Michael Johnson. He was working on that tight turnover when he was doing an analysis of Usain Bolt's running style. Elite track sprinters are gonna have that nice tight turnover in the high knees. But if you're not an elite sprinter who doesn't have the ability to look at their form, every day, that isn't necessarily your profession, something you should consider about is, again, yes, making sure your knees are nice and high, elongating your strides, but also making sure you get that tight turnover, because if your legs are dragging behind you, it's just going to be an extra amount of energy taken from that bottom position, from that back position, bringing your knees up and elongating the strides out. That's what's happening. You don't want to drag your legs behind you. You want to get that heel all the way into the hamstrings, all the way to the butt, so you can drive those legs forward. That's what you want to be doing. Now, what's unique about this video in particular is that it was actually driven by a message that was left on my discussion board, and that's something that's really cool because it's good to know that people are seeing it and they have enough openness to actually ask me about different topics and things they'd like me to address or make a video on. So any other topic in the future that you guys might want to learn or hear about, whether it be running wise or just general cross training, make sure to leave it on the board. And this is Nathan Cross checking out. See you guys next time.